Okay.
Okay, we've started.
Yeah.
Good. Hello, and welcome to our Hangout on Air. I'm Mary Beth at the Law of Attraction Club, on the web at theloaclub.com. On these Hangouts, we collaborate with our friends Tara. This Hangout is the summary of our theme for the week and continues on our member conference line. Today, our topic is, actually, there is no law of attraction. It's more about unlearning than learning. You can get invites to our open calls, which we offer periodically, and our powerful, free letting go process by going to the loaclub.com. Right now, we are welcoming Robin and Tara. Robin will be bringing Tara through for us today, so over to them.
Welcome back to our discussion. We seem to have... Good. Welcome back to our discussions. And as we start out here today, we encourage you to observe yourself. In other words, as you hear these ideas, at one level, you're consciously reacting to them. We suggest you watch yourself doing that from a higher vantage point. You'll be sort of duplexing. For example, if we said, actually, there is no law of attraction, you'll have some sort of conscious reaction to those words. Just watch yourself react. If we say, all of this law of attraction stuff is more about unlearning than learning new skills, once again, that will trigger some thoughts. So as we proceed here today, try sitting above yourself, so to speak, and just watch. We'll check in with you later on how you did with that. All of you, to some extent, are looking for the answer to the meaning of life. And yet all of you, to some extent, and some of you to a large extent, resist the idea that you're the powerful creator of everything in your experience. Sometimes you can't quite put your finger on why you resist. It's just that it feels like it's too much to give up. If accepting the truth of who you are feels like letting go of a lifeline, like letting go of some sort of certainty that you're desperately holding on to, we say, ask yourself, what is the promise of that so-called certainty? We know this game of yours is intense. This physical stuff seems all too real. You bump your knee and it hurts. So many of you pick the particular version of status quo that you seem to be able to live within and just plug along with that. You stifle and sit on those desires of yours in order to be realistic and avoid disappointment. You give up on your haves, bees, and do's. At times things are good. And yet for all of you at times, it seems to be, as Shakespeare describes it, a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. You have some ups and downs. You struggle through a life of quiet desperation, and then you die. That's the promise of that so-called certainty. Of course, deep within you all, you know there's got to be more to the story than that. And of course there is. So, to the extent that you can, we encourage you to loosen your grip on that. We see you at your essence. And we know that as you begin to engage with yourself at that higher level of understanding, you vibrate more and more in resonance with truth. It feels less and less like discord and more like a symphony. We've seen the end of the movie, and there's nothing but joy and freedom that ever results from discovering who you are. So let's do a little discovering together. As we begin here, as we start describing to you what's really going on with you and your world, it's worth acknowledging that we'll be dealing with approximations. When we talk of absolutes and laws, we're using words to convey to you, as best we can, a foundational understanding of your non-physical and infinite nature. Each of you receives these words in your own way. Some of you are not much concerned with the logic of it. Some of you seek a deeper understanding of the way it all works. There is no right or wrong way of approaching this, just your way. And as we suggested earlier, as you receive this and think and react, do a bit of duplexing and observe yourself doing that. So for those seeking the shortcut to get to the end result, joyful creation, remember always to reach for that better feeling thought, and you will fully experience this game very much as you intended. Play on. For those of you wanting to put the puzzle pieces together, we welcome your curiosity, and we will do our best to journey with you to the place of knowing who you are. Today we will get into some words and descriptions and a longer discussion about all of that. And then we will wend our way once again back to the bottom line. How to use this knowledge to step into a new version of you and your world. What we are about to describe here is the essential nature of, capital E, everything. Upon that foundational structure, all stories are built. We do it. You do it. You have all individually chosen a unique story about you and your physical and non-physical worlds. That's your so-called reality. If there are things within your story that seem to be at odds with these fundamentals, that's okay. There are no right or wrong choices, just what feels good or doesn't. Take what feels good. Nothing is more important than feeling good. Leave the rest. Just remember, new choices are always possible. Let us say up front, it is not a 5-year PhD course to get to a good understanding of who you are and why you're here. It is not complex. It is elegantly simple. There is not one of you that is incapable of comprehending these concepts. The difficulty most of you have in getting your minds around it is not that there is so much to learn. It's just that there's a few things to unlearn. And by that we mean you're so caught up in this earthly game that when you try to visualize all that is and your relationship to it, you are stuck in space-time thinking. In non-physical, there is no space and time. In all that is, or source, or the universe, or God, or whatever you choose to call it, there is no place. There are no shapes and dimensions. There are no boundaries, levels, or hierarchies. There is no geometry or numbers like 3 of this and 9 of that. There is nothing negative. There is only something you might describe as energy. This is where you came into being and what you came from. As you first had an intention, so you formed yourself out of this swirl of energy. Then you made choices and you formed some more. And so it went on until here you are, playing this game. Even as our intentions create us, your intentions created you, and they create you now. Here you are in your story. We and others have described what is fundamental or absolute in terms of 2 or 3 or 4 principles. And of course, contained in these is what we have called the law of attraction. The good news is that by describing capital E everything in these components, we step our way through the concepts as one way of making them easier to understand. The less good news is that some within you start to make up a detailed space-time language story about these components. And because they don't really understand the law of attraction, they invent other cosmic laws. And pretty soon, you're lost in complexity. Of course, the term law of attraction has come to mean something to many of you. It is even the name of this community. And there is no doubt we will continue to talk about the law of attraction into our intersections here with you. But there really is no such law. The truth of it is even simpler than that. Even what we have called those 2 or 3 absolutes are really only one. It is all to do with the inherent essential nature of what you are. You're not a physical human being. That's just the game you've invented. You're a consciousness, an awareness, a thinking entity. So this is the nature of everything. You're an individuated part of the collective consciousness of all that is. Your individuation is created by your intentions, desires, and choices. And that individuation always inherently exists in a sense creates, a realm of matching vibrational intersections. In other words, you choose beliefs and expectations, and you and your world reform to match those expectations. Know that when we use the word always, we mean timeless. When we use the word matching, we are saying everything you need to know about the law of attraction. When we use the word individuation, we do not imply disconnection or separation. You cannot disconnect from source. When we use the word intentions, we do not imply something static. Everything is dynamic. Intentions change. Choices are made. Choice defines you, even as you have new desires, make new choices, and therefore define a new you. That's it. That is the nature of us and our world. That is the nature of you and your world. The act of creating you also creates your world around you. One cannot exist without the other. We promised you that you would be able to comprehend all of this. You can. But if it seems right now a little elusive, stay with these words for a while and let yourself begin to embrace the concepts. This fluid creative process we are describing is you and the matching world around you. You and choice and desire and intention and that world of yours are inseparable. Having said that, what does all this mean in the context of creating more of what you want? Simply this. There is never a time that you cannot choose what to think or think about. Therefore, you are always at choice about all things. You are so free you can choose limitation, or at least the illusion and experience of limitation. Of course, there is no right or wrong choice. There are just choices that feel good and those that do not. We encourage you to choose those which feel good. You came here for that reason, to experience what it's like to create in this context where your consciousness is narrowed down into a single point of focus. Your ultimate joy lies in not only creating new things, but in knowing that you did, doing it consciously, and that you can go on creating new things consciously. So each day, commit to spend time engaged in thinking about what you want to include in this movie called Your Life on Earth. Expect miracles. Create miracles. That's what you're here for. From beliefs come expectations. The important question to ask yourself in relation to any subject is, what do I expect? And when you ask that, don't look just for a conscious thinking answer. Go deep. What do I really, really expect? When you're about to do your meditations, set the scene with, what is my intention here? And in relation to that intention, what do I expect? Or even better, go to the bucket process and ask, in which probability bucket am I holding this desired result? And then try moving it up a bucket or two. We understand that what you know has considerable momentum. We also know that focus and intention and confidence and treating yourself with compassion can always win the day. Here's our summary. Thoughts become things, and things which match meet. Thoughts become things. Choose the good ones. What you choose to believe sets up the expectations that define you and your matching worlds. What you choose to believe defines the personal virtual reality you experience. What you believe becomes your reality. What you believe becomes. So, as we went through this, we invited you to duplex your thinking, to react and think and make belief choices, but also at the same time to observe, to watch yourself doing that. How did that go? We'll be talking some more about that in our longer discussion. We want you to understand this enhanced awareness can be embedded with you in such a way that it no longer needs you to duplex. it becomes an ever-present and ongoing awareness. It's a powerful assistant. It's an amazing way of holding yourself just a little apart from that virtual reality you're immersed in, and mastering the art of knowing and allowing and being who you really are. Let's just close here with these words. If all of this rings your bells, grab it and run with it. Have confidence. Try changing a few things you know. Watch what happens. If you fail, come ask for help. Try something new. You can succeed. And we know that because we know who you are. You are one of us. You are God. Good.
This Hangout on Air was the summary of our theme for the week. We do 3 live calls a week with Q&A for our members on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You can become a member by going to the loaclub.com/join. You can also get invites to our occasional open calls and our powerful free letting go process by going to the loaclub.com. So now our longer